Pluto transiting the Ascendant. This is again an extremely rare transit. It happens, the transits which you can feel to the Ascendant, and when Pluto is passing exactly over the degree of the Ascendant in the opposite side, which is 180 degree, which is the opposition to the Ascendant, or the square when Pluto is passing 90 degrees away from the Ascendant in your horoscope, from the degree of the Ascendant. And this happens once in 60 or 70 years in your life. So for most people, it's once in a lifetime experience, or for some, it never actually happens. The timing of this transit and the spirit in your life will only be given correctly if your time of birth is correct within 2-3 minutes. Or the bigger the difference in your time birth is, you might say 4 or 5 minutes, it can be moved with a year before, a year later. The exact influence of Pluto. But the whole process of Pluto transit to the Ascendant takes about sometimes 1.5 to 2 years, and it's one of the biggest transformation that will happen in your life ever. It's more of a psychological process that is happening in yourself, because Pluto is the god of change, is the god of transformation, is the god of death and rebirth. And this is exactly what is happening to you, because the Ascendant represents basically how you project yourself to others, your personality, how others see you, how you act in the world, how, you know, who you represent basically, and usually in the eyes of others, because the Ascendant represents the physical body. So it's not our deep-seated our most deep-seated identity and spirit, but it's what the world sees about us, and how often we identify. We often identify with our body and with the outer things, the personality. And this is what the Ascendant rules. And Pluto wants to totally transform and reshape this, and it does it for this about 1.5 to 2 years period. It can do it in a few ways. The most painful one, if it gives a big identity crisis to you, because Pluto wants to destroy the old and bring in the new. And if you're resisting this process, what happens is psychologically you kind of lose your path in life, because the Ascendant also shows your path in life and your identity, and you start thinking, who am I? What am I supposed to do in life? What is my mission? What am I supposed to head and do? And you stop identifying with the old self, and a big power struggle happens within you, the old trying to hang on and trying to keep you into the old habits and patterns of being and acting and the path of life, and the new impulses that you're receiving from Pluto trying to push you in a completely new direction, which is more empowering for you. Even though Pluto wants to empower you, and this is what eventually does after the end of this process, the whole letting go of the old ego and identity is a very painful process for a lot of people, because people do not like change. However progressive you think you are, when you start losing your sense of self and everything old that you identified with, it's extremely painful. It's like a death of the old person. It's like a mini death that you experience. And for some people, Pluto can even bring crisis that can bring them close to death, even if it's not psychological. It's much rarer that it can bring you face to face with death, or bring you to the edge, or maybe introduce death into your life through people that are close to you, or people that you love. But Pluto does it because it wants to bring you to the age, so you have a sudden awakening of consciousness and leaving out the old. Because why would we leave our comfortable old ways of living and being and projecting ourselves unless something really slaps us in the face and really shows us that we're living in a wrong way, and our habits and patterns are destructive or unhealthy, unproductive or disempowering. And often people awaken to this harsh reality, to this false way of living, an unhealthy way of living and of being, by a crisis situation. And I'm not saying that for all of you it's gonna happen, but some people are more psychically responsive to the impulses of Pluto, so the process happens within themselves naturally. This transformation, they answer to this call of the energies, being born within themselves, the Pluto energies, and they do the transformation consciously and with awareness and with desire from their side, But for a lot of people, they're resisting these inner changes that are happening, that the planets are calling for. So an outside event comes that awakens them, And often it can be something quite intense and deep in order to transform us. And because Pluto is the god of the underworld, as I said, it might be even coming face to face with death, or with our biggest fears and paranoias. And Pluto at the beginning of a transit can even make you paranoid, obsessive, intense, extreme. It's a bit of a crazy planet, you know. It's a demonic influence, Pluto, you know, the god of the underworld. So it takes you to the bottom sometimes, you know. And even if it's not in the physical world, by taking everything away for you, it can take you to the bottom emotionally, to confront your big demons, to confront your own big your own dark side, you know, and to overcome it. You know, Pluto rules all our most intense obsessions and complexes and behaviors which are most self-destructive, which are most negative, you know. Even if they're very much unconscious, when Pluto comes, it intensifies them so strongly that we become very aware of them, and we actually might affect other people or affect our life. The consequences might start pouring in right now of all our destructive habits and old behaviors. Even if we were not aware before, we become aware when Pluto is there, so we can have the courage or the desire. It's not even the desire, we're forced, because they're so intensified, we're forced to get rid of these, or they destruct our life, and they destruct the saneness and well-being and emotional well-being. As I said, fears can be very intensified, paranoias, even paranoias from past life that you didn't think you had, or from early childhood can come to the surface. Memories from the past that you think you've forgotten and that you think you no longer have influence on your character, or you as a person, can actually resurface and prove to you that, you know, you have to cleanse this toxic matter. If you thought that you've recovered from abuse from the past, maybe these issues will be raised again, because all toxic energy has to come to the surface so it can be thrown away from your life. So this is a deep psychological transformation and healing, but always, just like in detoxing, when the body is detoxing, when you go on a detoxing diet, actually start getting a lot of really bad symptoms like headaches and pain in the body, because while the toxins are dying away, they hurt, you know, because they really poison the body when they're disintegrating. And this is what happens when you're cleansing away the toxins from your emotional body, and actually you might start getting physical pains, because the ascendant rules the physical pains, and you might start getting physical symptoms in your body, you know, like pains and hurts and weird energy feelings in the body and weird sensations, and you might start thinking you're going a bit mad, or your body is reacting, but it's cleansing itself from the past. And you can help this process by not being resistant to the changes and transformations, by not freaking out, by not getting all fearful and, you know, gripped by fear that you know, people, when they start feeling those changes, they get so fearful, you know. And even if you get some illness or something in your body that you know, that scares you a lot for your life in some cases. These are very extreme cases. It doesn't happen, you know, often, maybe to 5% of people with Pluto transit. If you're one of those, you know, just be aware that God or your higher self or the universe is giving you this symptom, extreme symptom of the body, because the body is cleansing itself. And even if it's cancer, because Pluto is sometimes connected to cancer, to mutation. Pluto is a planet that can mutate, even if it's cancer or something like that, that really scares you. It's actually, it doesn't have to be a deathly, because Pluto just wants to clear up the toxin. If you allow this clearing of the toxins, if you forgive and let go of old grudges, if you let go of old resentment, this is how you actually heal your body as well. So it's very important that you do some psychological and spiritual work while Pluto is transiting the Ascendant, if you want your body to be healthy. For younger people, you know, it doesn't have to be so stressful, but people later in age, especially people who've held long-time resentment or self-destructive habits and modes of acting and thinking and behaving and projecting themselves, this is when Pluto can really hit you hard. And the harder you're experiencing this Pluto transit, you realize that the more you have to heal in yourself. So the more you have to let go of the past, the more you have to become in a forgiving, accepting mood, and let go and let God. This is what happens when Pluto is around, you know, because power stronger than you overpower your life, and they're doing these transformations within you. So you can just get connected to higher power, pray for ability to change, for ability to let go and to to assist in those processes. And a lot of people, when Pluto is transiting, they do some psychological work like therapy, like self-analysis, self-help books, meditating, letting go of old resentments, forgiving others, going on 12-step programs, any kind of program which helps you get rid of the old obsessions. Or old obsessions can be, and old destructive habits can be drinking, can be any kind of addictions as well. When Pluto comes on your ascendant, it will be the end of those addictive and destructive habits, because if you continue even during Pluto, you'll kill yourself, you'll self-destruct, you know. Pluto will not allow it, so it really increases the negative symptoms of your self-destructive behaviors and patterns of thinking and being and seeing at yourself, looking at the world, you know. So it's very deep transformation, how you approach the world, how you see the world, what you think of it, how others see you. The ascendant is also the physical appearance, so people, when they're having a Pluto transit, can often change their physical appearance, you know. They can, some big transformation like grow a beard or lose a lot of weight or put on weight, because they just want because this inner pull for transformation of the personality of the how a person expresses themselves is so deep that the person just wants to it's even reflected on the physical appearance. So you can be quite interesting, you know, to see how people change physically looking while Pluto is transiting the ascendant. And Pluto is the planet of also of its ultimate goal is to empower you, to help you live to a higher level of consciousness, to live more freely, to release you from the shackles of the old obsessions and the old things that had control over you. But as we said, it initially always increases them. Or even if it's people who have power over you, people, if you're someone who allow others to step on you, or you don't your power, your own power, you don't feel empowered in life. When Pluto comes, actually a lot of power struggles come in your life, because others try even more, you know. Pluto intensifies this, and others try to control you. You attract manipulative people, or you attract people who are trying to tell you what to do, who are trying to control your life, like total domination, because Pluto wants to awaken your own personal power, so you can respond back and take back the power into your own hands. So you're no longer disempowered, you know. So they are very intense, this awakening of inner power and of inner truth, of sticking to what your inner truth is so intense and powerful that you project yourself very strongly onto others and your desires, and you know, and very strong power struggles can happen during this period. So if you notice that you're having a lot of power struggles with people, manipulative energies, you're trying to manipulate others, or others you know, trying to take control, it is Pluto's influence. Definitely that's, you know, you're definitely having the Pluto transit in your life, and it wants to teach only how to use power in your life. You know, if you're someone who is all the time controlling and using others for power, for personal and egoistic reasons, who are controlling domination over ours, and it's been like that for a lot. When Pluto comes, you become even more so to the point of intensity and obsession. But Pluto wants to break down this. If you've been abusing power, Pluto will bring you someone who will abuse the power of you, or this power will turn on you and sting you. Pluto is the planet of Scorpio, so the Scorpio can poison its own self through the power, through the incorrect use of power. Or if you've been someone who's been not being able to use power, as we said, Pluto wants to push you to empower yourself. So at the end of this process, you have to be empowered in a positive way, and use power much more in a balanced way. And a big transformation of the character happens. Also, your relationships can be very much transformed when Pluto is passing, when Pluto is making an opposition to your ascendant, or a square, or the conjunction as well, doesn't matter, because at the other end of the ascendant is the descendant, which rules relationships. So your relationship with people are very much transformed. People might change relationship status from single to being in a relationship when Pluto is there. It brings totally change in your relationship and attitude to relationships. And often there can be big power struggles for domination in relationships. But also Pluto brings very intense and deep sexual relationships, so you can become even obsessed about someone, or some controlling and very powerful person and obsessive can be in your life, or you can you either project it to the person in your life and you attract this type of Plutonian person, who is there to teach you how to use power in your life, by bringing this power. Or you yourself become the manipulative obsessive when it comes to relationships, very intense feelings. Whenever Pluto is transiting the ascendant in some way, often people go into very deep sexual relationships, obsessive, and again, often they have to let go of these obsessive patterns, or they become unbearable. They have to learn to control those. And also, if you're married, there might be a falling apart of this relationship if the power of balance is not good in the relationship. It can be if the relationship is no longer productive in your life and necessary. When Pluto comes, it will fall apart. If the relationship is actually very helpful and good, the power struggles in the relationship can be intensified, and maybe jealousy and obsession can be intensified. But at the end of this process, the relationship will be empowered itself. So if it's a good relationship, it will stay. If it's not, it will actually, you have to let go of it. And in many cases, people have to do that. And so yes, a big transformation of the self and of the relationships in your life is happening. And as I said, you can attract very much scorpionic people, Pluto type of people, who bring those issues of obsessment, of control, of power in your life, and manipulation as well, but in the positive way. Big emotional transformation they will bring into your life, big change. Or also your partner, if Pluto is transiting your is handing an aspect to Ascendant, your partner, the person in your life might be going through a big transformation which affects you. Yes, so please share with us what happened when Pluto was transiting your Ascendant. Maybe an opposition, maybe a square, or maybe a conjunction, with anything interesting or a very big transformation happening in your relationship scene. Often, or people who are very afraid of relationship, when Pluto comes, it wants to break this old pattern. So it wants to bring them someone they get very intense feeling for, So whatever your normal status of relationship was, and a way of approaching relationship and relating to others, Pluto will fully transform it. If you're a philanderer, Pluto will want to change that. If you're someone afraid of relationship, Pluto will change. If you're someone who never goes in relationship, Pluto will change that status. If you're someone who jumps from relationship to relationship, any kind of extreme you have in relationship, Pluto wants to rebalance them by first actually increasing those extremes, so you can consciously make the transformation. Anyway, please share with us what is your story. Tell others what happened. If it's more empowering stories, even the best. How did it empower you? Focus on the positive. What was the final result when Pluto transit happened? What did you learn from it? What did you gain? And how did it help you live your life more freely and more empowered? Thank you so much.